Today I have the honor of interviewing Showrocka, an elite lyricist with over 5 studio albums out on digital streaming platforms. He's been heard on Bars on I-95, the Punchline Academy, and more. We're gonna invite Showrocka in to talk about his new music, his new album which he released on May 5th of this year, his discography, the influences he's had in hip hop, and the influence that he's laying down on the culture now. We're gonna invite him in. Thank you so much.
I said, hey, yo, what's going on?
that's like your album. Hey, yo.
all the time, man. I can't not do it. Every time I get on a track, it's like my signature.
It is. It's dope. You know how producers put their tag on beats?
Yep, exactly.
That's your tag. That's your tag. And it's dope. It's fly. Thank you so much for joining the Cristopolis show. It's an honor to have you on. Your lyrical skill, you're an elite lyricist. Your discography showcases that. You love the culture. You're a student of the culture. You're a teacher of the culture now at Pendulum Ink. And we're gonna jump into all that, right? And what I always love to do in the interviews that I conduct with MCs and creatives is to talk about the musical journey. You know, how you fell in love with hip hop, where it all started from you, and then we'll just organically work our way up. So you know, hip hop has been a part of your life. It looks like your whole life. Can you take us on that journey?
Hip hop really has been in my life forever. I would say longer than my dad. And like I joke around and say that. He doesn't like when I say that, but when I was younger, it was just me and my mom. And you know, she really couldn't teach me how to play sports and stuff like that. So she bought me a boombox. So by the time I was 5, 6, 7, you know, I'm literally rapping. I'm listening to these tapes. She bought me a Salt and Pepper tape. And ever since I heard Push It, I've been rapping damn near every day since I was probably like 6 or 7 years old.
Wow. Yeah, Push It, like, it's such a dope song till today. It's so uniquely like produced, the beat, the groove, that in the show, you know, to this day are just like incredible tracks. At
but
what point do you?
It's funny because people will joke at me now and be like, "Damn, Show, you don't make no songs for women. Like you just make songs for angry dudes bumping into each other." And it's like to think that my first rap influence was 2 females. So yeah, funny how life works.
At what point do you start, you know, moving from listening to rap and knowing the lyrics of songs to penning your own early rhymes?
I was rapping the first time that I heard that tape. Like there was no, I'm a fan and now I'm gonna do this. It was this came on, oh, I'm doing this too. Like from the moment that I heard it, I grabbed a pen.
Wow.
Or a pencil at that time, or whatever we were writing with, the big fat pencil.
Yeah. This is all before like people wrote lyrics on phones.
Right.
This
exactly.
Is like really like run.
You have one of these right here, and I always keep one. We had the black and white composition.
Yep.
Right.
And then at some point, did you work with other rappers? Did you have some early rap groups before you started getting in the studio?
Well, for me personally, because I don't have any brothers or sisters, growing up, people say your cousins are your first friends. So my cousins were my first rap group. The 3 of us, you couldn't tell us nothing. We would have thought we were the fucking Locks. We thought we were we were the dopest MCs that we thought we were. But really, in hindsight, I was the only one that was really dope. Sorry to them.
That's dope. And then at what point do you start getting into like, you know, early recordings? Like the, you know, first time you started recording yourself?
I was recording myself in my own home, and I don't remember the exact age, but it was before I was 10 years old. So probably like 7 or 8, because I used to have, like when you're a little kid, you have things like a Teddy Ruxpin, you know, little talking bear where you put the tapes in, or you have different things that are supposed to be for educational use. Like you listen to these tapes and they teach you how to count, or they teach you how to spell. And at a young age, I learned how to record on those things and make rap songs.
Wow.
Eventually from there, you know, you get a karaoke machine. And then once you got a karaoke machine, you can take it outside. You take it outside in the boys, and then everybody's a rapper. Everybody's rapping, you're making tapes. So yeah, I remember having like the little speaking spells or the little Teddy Ruxpins and stuff like that. And I had one that had a microphone, and we would literally get blank tapes. You know, back then when you wanted to record over a tape that wasn't blank, you took the little pieces of tissue and you put them in the tape. And that's what we would do.
Yeah. I would get into my mom's collection. I get into her tapes. Because if you didn't have the tape, you need to find a tape. Or you wanted to record the DJ on the radio. Yeah. And I get into my mom's tapes. You know what I mean? So that's dope.
That was before Connecticut even had a hip hop station. So in Connecticut, we used to always want to listen to Hot 97.
Yeah.
But we couldn't really get it. It was real staticky. Like it's So we put our ear to we used to love when it rained. Because when it rained, Hot 97 would come in clear. And then we'd run, get our tapes, record Funkmaster Flex, everything that was on the radio, DJ Clue. Wow. And yeah, when it rained, that was when Hot 97 came in clear.
That's dope. That's a good name for a track. Well, one of the dope things about your music is you're really talented and skilled lyrically, right? Like that's established. You are an elite lyricist. But one of the things that you do that not every lyricist does is that you often write conceptual songs. You have some, you'll have like a concept, and I'll name just a few. We're gonna get into your discography. But like take for instance, like the track you have that I think is incredibly dope is Blaxploitation, right?
I love
that song. I love that song. And in that song, you break down a whole era and genre that's slept on often of early film from the 60s, 70s, early 80s, and break it down. And the ability to be able to do that, you do it, on that same album, right? You've got the Panthers and the Lords, you've got these conceptual concepts, right? Which I think is incredibly dope. Can you unpack Blaxploitation for us, that song, the idea behind it?
Well, Blaxploitation, I did two of them. I did one on each of the I Grew Up on Wu albums. But Blaxploitation is really like, the moment that I heard that beat, it just brought me back to that era of those films. Like the long trench coats, the Shafts, the Rudy Ray Moores, the Pam Grier. I used to love Pam Grier. And you would always you catch these old movies on like rerun channels and stuff like that. And of course, it wasn't really my era growing up watching those, but we watched them later on in life. Yeah. And for me, it was just the idea that Black ownership, like they didn't want to give us starring roles. So we said, fuck that. We're going to make our own stuff. Yeah. And it was like all the women were badass. All the dudes were slick talking, slick walking. So that's like, it's sort of like rap when you think of it, because the earliest rappers, what did they do? They bragged on themselves. And I'm better than you. I'll out rap you. And then after that, it was, I'm tougher than you. I'll beat you up. And now, unfortunately, it's my gang will kill your gang. But that's kind of where it all started with the Blaxploitation. And it's the same way with rap. Like we took something and we made it our own. And it came from hardship and struggle. So for me to make Blaxploitation was like, I wanted something that like my little cousins could listen to and feel proud of. Like, oh, wow, this is a Black superhero. Like, this is this badass chick that's running around beating up these dudes. And like, I don't know, just something Black people could be proud of, and something that just channeled that energy of that era. Yeah. Of those movies.
What's really dope about those movies is that it feels like there's like in a sense, an endless supply. Because as you start digging,
you go down the
start finding all these movies, right? Because there's Shaft and Superfly, and Pam Grier's movies. But as you keep going, it seems like Pam Grier's it seems like Pam Grier.
She was the GOAT back then. So.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Blaxploitation film?
I like Coolie High.
Okay. Yeah. I think my favorite is probably Black Caesar. And the soundtrack to that, the James Brown soundtrack to that is incredibly dope. Are you a fan of Camp Lo, by the way?
I love Camp Lo.
Hold
Hold on. Let's make a disclaimer. I love Camp Lo's first album.
There you
I
go.
still have it on in my car. Yes, my car is old enough to still have a CD player. I still keep Camp Lo's first album on CD in my car, and I probably listen to it at least once a month.
I think that's one of the greatest hip hop records. Their first album is one of the greatest, and slept on. Yeah.
From Lucchini to Black Connection, all of those songs, man. That I can play that album all the way through.
Yeah.
And I do.
Yeah. Nah, it's incredibly dope. So Blaxploitation's on the first album that you have on digital streaming platforms. I grew up on Woo. But there's an era before that that's not out, right? You don't arrive at the level of rhyme at which you're at on that first album without having some back catalog that's not there. Can you talk to us about the early projects that are harder to find?
I will. Now, you said I grew up on Woo as my first project on streaming platforms. It is, but it isn't. There's one that's out there, and a lot of people that know me know that this album's out there and they listen to it. It's not purposely hidden, but it's hard to find because at the time that I uploaded it, I was new to streaming. I didn't really know what I was doing. So it uploaded as a collaboration album with every person that I had a feature with. So it doesn't just pop up as a Showrocka album, but there is a way to find it. But the reason that I don't put it out there and make people find it is because back then I was still recording my stuff on an analog board. Okay. Like I don't know if you can see it from here. I got a 16-track board under here.
Yeah.
And that's what I was recording on back then.
Okay.
So the sound quality, it doesn't sound professional.
Okay.
But if you listen to that album, a lot of people say that it's their favorite because it's very different from all of my other albums. Because at the time that I wrote it, I thought, I'm getting old, I'm not going to rap anymore, so let me just put it all out there. So It's a much more personal album. Ooh. Like now, like most of my joints are just like trying to make good songs, trying to show people how well I can rap, trying to out-rap myself, trying to come up with crazy concepts and stuff like that, or even concept albums. But that one was just like a personal album where I actually talked about some things in my life. I didn't give it all, but pause. But I gave a little bit.
You gave a lot, right? What's the name of that album? If people want to look at that, that older album.
It's called 13. And that is my first album that made its way to streaming. Now I got tons of stuff in that board over there. I got CDs that I was putting out before, and before CDs, I was putting out tapes. I've been rapping since I'm a rapidy rap motherfucker, man. I got a lot of material. Even in terms of, if you look at my discography, yes, but feature-wise, like during the pandemic years, I probably averaged about 60 features a year for other rappers. Just giving out verses, like Oprah's like, you get a car. I was like, you get a verse, you get 2 verses. A lot of
you like that verse? Here goes another one.
But back then I had more time.
Yeah.
Now, between, helping write lesson plans and stuff for Pendulum Ink, between actually going and doing shows and touring, that's why my voice sounds like this right now. I was at a show performing in Brooklyn last night till 2:30 in the morning, then still had to drive home back to Connecticut and go to work. So now I don't have as much time, so I'm not banging out 60 features this year. The price went up. Like yesterday's price.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I don't have the time now.
So tell us about the show last night. Who was at the show? Where did you perform at?
Last night's show was at the Meadows in Brooklyn, on Meadow Street in Brooklyn. It's kind of near Bushwick.
Okay.
And the headliner for the show was 38 Special from Trust Gang. He was out there. He brought Nature with him, which is crazy because Nature actually came out and did his verse to Banned from TV, which is one of the greatest leadoff verses in a posse cut ever. Also in the bill was Rock Ness Monster.
Yeah.
He what was dope was he did some of the rest in peace to Sean Price.
Yeah.
He did some of the Helter Skelter songs.
Wow.
And Sean Price's wife, Bernadette, came up there and she was rapping his part. And I was like, it's just great to see it.
Wow.
In addition to that, a lot of my rap homies were at this show performing. And that's what I love to see. Like, yeah, it's great that the headliners are there, but fuck the headliners, man.
Yeah.
We here for each other.
That's
because
right.
The headliners got people coming to see them. They got people supporting them already. You got to go out and support your people.
Yeah.
So, my man, So Soon was out there. My man, Tony Dimes, Unlearn the World, one of the homies he lives out in Oakland now, and he's a hip hop educator, but he happened to be on the East Coast. So he was out there. And then, you know, I actually ran into Graf, and I was chopped it up with him last night. My boy, Young Z from the Outsiders. Me and Z are cool. Like he's a cool ass dude. So we were kicking it. It was like being around family. So
yeah,
it was a good vibe in Brooklyn.
That's dope. That's beautiful. And then you mentioned Pendulum Ink, you know, and how you're spending a lot of time developing lesson plans. You're assistant professor of rap theory at Pendulum Ink. Can you talk to us about what Pendulum Ink is, what they do there, for people to know, you know, who don't know, and for people to learn about it?
It's funny. I just came from Brooklyn, so I get to say, if you don't know, you're about to know. Now you know. Pendulum Ink is actually the first school for lyricism. It started by Chilla Jones, one of the greatest battle rappers in history. It's not debatable. Yeah. You know, where you put him on the list, that's up to you. But you can't debate the fact that he's high on that list. Inventor of the scheme, or at least the one who made it count. So Chilla Jones and Mickey Fax are the founders of the school, along with a gentleman named Comic Book Cam and Rob Nice, or people call him Rap Seminar Rob because he runs Rap Seminar. He was a tenured professor at a university, and now he's full-time hip-hop professor. So a lot of people say, how can you teach someone to rap? You can't teach someone to rap. You have it or you don't. That's not actually true, because we have people who've come into the school and could barely rap on beat or couldn't rap on beat. And we're actually taught by our professors at Pendulum Ink how to count bars, how to rap on the 2 and rap on the 4, and how to actually turn something that may have been more poetic or may have been more freeform and actually structure it like a verse. How to learn different styles of rapping. And of course, there's different tracks at Pendulum. So, you know, you've got your rap theory, we call these students the theorists, who are really just starting out in hip hop, and they really just either want to learn how to rap or learn how to rap better. Then you've got the advanced techniques classes, which are taught by Chilla Jones, where you really get, as we say, get spooky. You learn, you know, how to rap backwards. You learn how, there's a lot of different techniques that are coined by Pendulum because they actually were the ones to copyright these terms. Yeah. And I think it's important that we have a lexicon in hip hop where we can say something and we all know what it means. Yeah. Like the same way that in any other profession, any other trade, you can say something, like we have a metric system. We all know what a foot means. We all know what a yard is. So now, to the point with Pendulum Ink, that we'll all know what glitching is, or splicing, or these different technical terms for how you can structure a verse. And what they're doing is they're turning you in, we call it mutant school. They're turning you into super rappers. Wow. Even myself, last year I was a student at Pendulum Ink, which is how I ended up with the job as the assistant professor. Because part of our graduation was, if you graduate at the top of the class, some of us will be selected to assist in teaching the following year. And I graduated as the valedictorian. And one of the things that came along with that was being able to work with the newer students. And I like to think I'm a personable guy. The students like me. Yeah. And they know that if they don't, what are they going to do? They can't out-rap me. So they're gonna do, you can't beat me. You can't beat me. But nah, that's what we do at Pendulum. And honestly, when I first joined, I kind of felt the same way a lot of other people did. Like, I don't need anybody to teach me how to rap. I've been rapping since I was 6 years old.
Yeah, decades in already.
Right. I joined it more for the connections, to see if maybe it would open some doors, maybe get me through some gatekeepers that I was having trouble getting through before. And what I learned was that in the process, I was becoming a much better MC, a much better writer, and I was learning a lot about the industry. So we have classes. We'll have a Mickey Money class where Mickey Fax teaches us about, sync licensing deals or publishing or splits and royalties. We'll have a hip hop history class. Our last hip hop history class was taught by Lord Finesse. The one before that was taught by DMC from Run DMC. And they're in there telling us stories. These are the guys who were there at the inception of hip hop talking to us. When they said get it from the horse's mouth, you can't get any closer than that, unless we bring in Cool Herc or something like that.
Right.
So we've got those classes. We'll have industry A&Rs come in to critique songs. We'll do like workshops. There is literally, we have mental health classes, pretty much anything that you can think of that is in the sphere of hip hop is in Pendulum Ink.
Wow.
And of course, the biggest draw for a lot of people is that we have legendary guests once a month. And I think last year, the one that closed it out was Method Man. But you never know in a Pendulum class. We could be in a random class and Method Man might pop in because he just wanted to see what's going on. He's friends with Chill Jones.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on at Pendulum Ink. I love it. So
So
I don't get paid to be a brand ambassador, but I can't help it.
Yeah, it's dope. It's beautiful. It's I think really cool too, because you're now working as assistant professor of rap theory at Pendulum Ink, but you are actually highly educated. You have I believe Ivy League college degree, double masters, right?
Oh, wow.
So you actually
you really did your homework. So yeah, I'm a smart guy, and I went to the University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League. I do have a double master's. I graduated with a 4.0. So these rhymes don't just come out of air. Like I'm a smart motherfucker. That's why I can do things with the English language that a lot of other people can't do.
That's right. Yeah, and we talked about how you structure a lot of your songs conceptually, your vocabulary, your lexicon, right? But what's really interesting is how now you're using that skill set and your experience at an Ivy League level, graduate program, double master's program in Pendulum Ink as an assistant professor of rap theory. So that's kudos to you and giving back to hip hop. The students are lucky, right? Not only do they have these very accomplished MCs, and you're a very accomplished MC, your academic experience.
I'm getting there.
So, and for folks that they're interested, they're hearing about it right now, maybe they want to, they love your music and they're like, yo, it'd be really dope to have him as an assistant professor to help me become better. Does Pendulum Ink, do they do online classes also? Is it only in person? Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, right now it's all virtual. I think they are working on, in the future, probably a little down the road, doing a brick and mortar. But for now, everything is virtual, except for, of course, our graduation. Once you graduate, that's an in-person ceremony. We have we call it Pendulum Inkend. It's the weekend. Last year they rented out a suite. We were at the Hawks game for the night. Then we had performances at a club that they rented out, and it was a crazy time. And we had, like a nice graduation ceremony. But for the most part, the classes, you'll have your core classes on the weekend. So it'll be a Saturday or a Sunday where you take your main class. But then all the other elective classes, like, let's see, we're learning entertainment law today. That might be on a Wednesday or Tuesday. Rhymecology, which is our mental health component, that'll be on a Wednesday. Rhymecology is on Wednesdays. Hip hop history is on Mondays. And all of these classes aren't mandatory, but trust me, when they're offered, you want to hop in as many classes as you can. Even Chilla Jones has a battle rap class where some of the best battle rappers that are currently active now will pop in on the class and just will watch battle rap, or they'll tell us about their latest battle, or whatever it is we want to talk about with them.
Yeah.
So
that's really dope. That's really dope. So, you know, you talked about Method Man being there. That must have been really special for you because, you know, the first album that you have on digital streaming platforms is I Grew Up on Woo, featuring Young Dirty Bastard. Then you did a part 2 to that album. With, you know, you have Cappadonna on that. You did the remix to I Grew Up on Woo with Shaheem, right? You love the Wu-Tang Clan. We all love the Wu-Tang Clan.
The Wu-Tang Clan, and I was happy as a pig in shit when I was able to get on that record, because when I came up with the concept, I Grew Up on Woo, it was just a song.
Yeah.
I heard the beat, and for some reason in my head, I was like, I grew up on Woo. And it sounded like a RZA beat to me. So I said, I'm going to write this song. And I wrote the song, and I liked it so much that the song turned into a whole album.
Yeah.
But initially, when I said I grew up on Woo, I was talking about the fact that I grew up listening to Woo. And I said, who do I want on this track? I want Shaheem on this track.
Ooh.
Because he grew up with Woo.
Yeah.
And he was the one that I was closer to his age when Wu-Tang was out, and I thought he was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get him on the track because he was in jail.
Oh.
So I was able to reach out to Young Dirty Bastard. That's the first industry feature that I ever got on my own.
Wow.
He's a stand-up guy. He didn't rob me. You know, a lot of these industry guys would, and not reverse. So don't think just because they're famous, they're above robbing you.
Yeah.
So he got me the verse back, and I was hyped. And then by the time that I Grew Up on Woo 2 album was coming out, Shaheem was out of jail. So I said, I got to reach out to him. What's the worst that can happen? He said no.
Right.
And he gave me a much better verse than Young Dirty did. I mean, I was up. Shaheem actually listened to my verse and said, I heard what you did. Now this is what I want to do, piggybacking off what you did, but to do it differently. Because I flipped all of the different members of the Wu-Tang Clan's names. And he says, okay, well, I'm going to flip all of the Killer Bees, all of the Wu-Tang offshoots. So the Blue Raspberry, the Killer Army, the Killer Scent. So because he knows all those guys. He knows all those groups. So who better to do it than him? So that's why that held a special place in my heart, that song.
Wow.
I see Franchise Report in the building. What up, Miss Leticia?
Yeah.
See people about them.
That's dope.
I actually saw her last night at the show in Brooklyn. Those guys from Rhode Island, but they get around. They are wherever hip hop's at. Franchise Report is at.
Yeah, so Rhode Island gets around for sure.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Forget about Rhode Island. There's a lot of hip hop. You got the grindmost hippers out of Rhode Island too. So people need to put more respect on New England hip hop before we start running around smacking people up.
Absolutely. You've been featured on some, elite rhymer platforms such as Bars on I-95, Punchline Academy. Can you talk about that experience? And is there one that you haven't been on yet that you'd like to be on? Well,
the one that I was chasing for the longest was Bars on I-95. It's prestigious, but for me, it meant more because I'm from Connecticut and they're based in Connecticut.
Got it.
And I was like, what is taking them so long to put me up here? I'm nice. Like, are y'all not listening? So when I was finally able to get on Bars, like, I'm not stopping there. There's a lot of other ones that I want to be on too, but Bars was the one that I really had on my radar. Yeah. But shouts to Chilla Jones and to my boy Five out in Rhode Island, because Chilla Jones called us up and brought us on the Franchise Report. So shouts to DJ Franchise. He's the first one to ever let us come on the radio and let Showrocka get his bars off on the radio. And for them to do that for me, it gave me looks. So now other people are like, okay, well, maybe we'll listen to this guy now because DJ Franchise put him on. And I feel like from there, it was easier to get certain people to return my phone calls and stuff like that. So shout out to them for just saying, this guy is nice, we're going to let him rap, as opposed to the name recognition. Yeah. So now my name's starting to mean a little bit more, but at a time when it didn't mean anything, DJ Franchise still let me come up there and get busy. Yeah. So in terms of other ones, Punchline Academy, I just submitted, and I got lucky that it was around forget what holiday it was, Christmas or something, or Thanksgiving. And they were like, we're just going to pick 3 people from the people that submitted and 3 people that are nice, and we're going to call them up. I heard them say this on like a Monday. And they were like, oh, we're going to announce it and do it like Thursday, something like that. On that Monday, I called out of work on Thursday. I said, my verse is crazy. They're going to pick me. So I already said I'm not going into work on Thursday before they even announced it, because I knew that I was going to get picked. And I did. I was lucky. I would have just had a day off for nothing. Yeah. But shout out to infamous Amadeus, because he brings the spitters out. Yeah. That is not a, oh, well, you got a name that's popping, so let's bring you up there. Nah. Amadeus knows. He's for the spitters. It's for real hip hop. You got to be able to actually fucking rap. So shouts to him. In terms of other ones out there, I really want to get on Chinatown Sound, because it's different and you get to rhyme a cappella. And I have a lot of shit that people need to hear. Yeah. And a lot of things that I do with words, if I do it a cappella and I get to do it at a slower pace, I feel like people will pick up on a lot of the different Easter eggs and things that I slip into these rhymes that sometimes only the Jedis catch it. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm okay with 80% of people thinking, yo, that was a dope verse. And the other 20 being like, yo, did you hear what he just did there? Run that back. Right. We don't have a rewind button on Spotify. It's not like back in the days where you said, rewind the tape. I need to hear that line again. And it's probably good because people ain't really saying shit that makes you want to rewind. So
that's true. That's facts. Music's changed and hip hop's changed. That's dope. That's dope. You dropped a project that's called Pay the Rappers. You've had a hashtag movement. Hashtag Pay the Rappers. Talk to us about that project and what that means to you.
Pay the Rappers means a lot to me, because the deeper that I get into this rap stuff, the more I realize that we don't make any money. Maybe if you're signed to a major label, you got deals, they're throwing fake moissanite chains at you and lease costs. They might think that you get money, but you're really not getting money as a rapper. You get 1/3 of 1 cent per stream. You listen to my song 3 times and I get 1 cent. That's ridiculous. So rappers in general, we're on the short end of the stick. So my idea is pay the rappers. It's something that all rappers should be able to get behind. And it started out with just a hashtag and a t-shirt. Yeah. I said, I don't want to put my face on a t-shirt. I don't want to put my name on a t-shirt. Because if I'm another grown-ass man, why I want to wear your name on my chest? Like, that's for what? I would do it if, like, you're my man, I just want to support you. But in general, it's a lot easier to sell something that everybody can get behind. Yeah. It's not just pay the rappers means I can get paid. It means you can get paid. Right. It means he can get paid. It means she can get paid. So that was the whole idea behind that. And then I started learning more and more. And now it's like I get to educate a lot of other people on publishing, on how to do your splits, on making the transition to direct to consumer, bringing your shit over to Bandcamp where you can actually make money. Because even on iTunes, Apple's phasing iTunes out. Yeah. They make it so hard to get to the iTunes store because they don't care. They want you to go to Apple Music instead, because they make all the money from Apple Music. So even when you look at something like, let's say you sell an album for $10 on iTunes, you might get back $57, which is still pretty good. Right. But on Bandcamp, you get closer to 8 or 9. Yeah. So, and then even on Bandcamp Fridays, what they usually do once a month, they'll waive the revenue share. Wow. So they're not even taking a cut, just whatever you got to pay to process the payment. And it's really a chance for rappers to make some money. Yeah. And why that's important is because I even say it in the song, pay the rappers. Everybody get paid but the rappers. And it's funny because it's your song. You got to pay the producer for the beat. Nobody's giving you free beats. Yeah. I mean, some people give you free beats, but for the most part, you got to pay the producer to lease the beat or to buy the beat outright. Yeah. You want to buy exclusive beats, can cost you like $500. Right. You have to pay the engineer. His time isn't free. Yeah. You have to pay for proper mix and master. You have to pay for your cover art. Nobody's doing your artwork for free. Yeah. Artists don't draw for free. So why should my verse or my songwriting be the only thing that doesn't get compensated? Yep.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea of pay the rappers came from. And it's like, we should all be paying. If you want to see someone succeed, I don't care if your album is on streaming. If I want to see you succeed, I need to put some money in your pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy it on iTunes or buy it on Bandcamp, and then I'm still going to stream it.
Yeah.
Because it's what's $10 for someone that you really want to support?
Right.
Or just be honest and say you don't really want to support them. Because a lot of people only want to see you successful, but not as successful as them. It's like, okay, Showrocka's getting some traction. That's what's up. But don't get too much traction. Now you're taking away from me. Yeah. And I don't know why people view things like that.
Yeah.
The only way that the underground is going to survive is if we band together, because we're already throwing rocks at the fucking ocean. You know?
Yeah.
One person, like, I don't know what, there's no reason for us to be competing amongst each other. Yeah. We should be pooling our resources so that we can get our name out there for more and more people. Because if Showrocka is successful, that means that the brand of hip hop that Showrocka is pushing is becoming more successful. Yeah. Like, look at Griselda. Yeah. They're pretty much credited with bringing back the grimy hip hop sound. Yeah. The fact that Griselda is successful, the fact that I'm wearing a $300 and some odd Griselda champion hoodie, it's a champion hoodie, but I paid all this money to them. Yeah. Because I want to see them win. Yeah. And guess what? The fact that they're winning allows me to win. Yeah. Because their fans are Showrocka fans. Yeah. The people that listen to them are the same type of people that want to hear lyricism. They want to hear 90s rap. They want to hear grimy, dark beats. And the fact that they are successful and bring it more to the mainstream means more people are checking for this type of music. And they want before Westside Gun, nobody was rhyming off drumless beats. Hip hop is all about the drum. Nobody's rhyming off drumless beats. As soon as he started doing it, now how many people are rhyming over these drumless soul samples? Right. And their voices don't have as much character as Westside Gun. So I'm just like, oh my God, you put me to sleep. Turn this shit off. But that's what it is.
And we can, in addition to your music on Bandcamp, you also have merchandise. You put out CDs, you put out tapes. What other merchandise can people find on your Bandcamp?
I actually have a website, and it's through Etsy. I have an Etsy shop called Pay the Rappers. So if you're on Etsy, which is Etsy's like usually homemade crafts, stuff like that. Yep. So all of my t-shirts, I just do t-shirts. I don't do anything else because I don't really make a lot of money off the merch. Yep. I make more money off the merch in person. Yeah. But the amount of money that I'm paying to get it made, it's more just branding. And I want you to have dope shit. And I want that shit to say Pay the Rappers. So every time a holiday comes around, I'll make a new design because I'm into art. So I like designing this type of stuff. So I'll make a Juneteenth shirt. I'll make a Puerto Rican Day Parade shirt. I'll make a Women's History Month, a Latinx History Month shirt. I'll make a fucking, you going out to the bars, the bar crawls? Boom. Here's the St. Patty's Day Pay the Rapper shirt. And I can't tell you how many people stop me and ask me because it's a conversation starter. They say, what is Pay the Rappers? I say, well, it's my publishing company, and it's a movement for artists to get paid. Oh, tell me more. And then it sparks a conversation, and then you're networking before you even know that you're networking. Wow.
That's dope. That's dope. Etsy.com/Pay the Rappers.
Yep, Pay the Rappers.
You recently released it.
I was going to say paytherappers.com, but paytherappers.com will take you directly to my Bandcamp so you can buy my music. Because I'd rather you buy my music than buy a t-shirt, but fuck it. Buy my t-shirt and stream my music. Yeah,
buy all of it. Go stream all the albums, stop by the Etsy store, and stop by the Bandcamp for sure.
And Showrocka
put in work. You recently dropped an album, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, Dear Heirs. Talk to us about your new project.
All right. So you said May 5th, which is important. It actually dropped on streaming on May 5th. And this goes back to Pay the Rappers. It actually came out in April. So myself and Ansolu, who's another dope-ass rapper, we both were attending Pendulum Ink. We're both going head-to-head because we were top students in the class, and fucked around and found out that we both have the exact same birthday. So we said, we're making a song, and we said, yo, let's just do a whole fucking album and drop it on our birthday. So what I did was I said, we're going to drop it on Bandcamp only, and we're going to give ourselves 1 month to sell as many copies as we can, and then we'll put it on streaming. But we're not even going to tell people that it's going to go on streaming after that. We're just going to hit the pavement like a street team. We're going to be in people's DMs. We're going to be in your inbox. We're going to be in your emails. We're going to be talking to you. Yo, did you buy that Dear Aries? Well, you need to. Are you always saying you want to support? Well, here's your chance to support. So we did that for a month, and then we dropped that album. I was talking to someone last night about that album. They were saying that it has kind of a different feel.
Yeah.
In making that album, we pretended that we had a record deal.
Yeah.
And said, if we had a record deal, what is the album we would turn in? So we made sure that we hit all bases. We have things that are current, that could be on today's radio now and compete with the Lil Babies and the Lil Durks.
Yeah.
Then we've got some stuff, the majority of it, which is 90s boom bap, which is our wheelhouse. We love that. Yeah. But with more updated beats. And then we've got a couple where, you know, you tell some pain, you tell some stories, you get something where you make people feel it. And of course, the storytelling. Because I always feel like if you do all those things, then you can't fail. Because you've got something for everybody without actively chasing a certain sound. Like even our radio records are radio records that we would make, not trying to copy the mold of what's already out there.
Yeah, that's dope. And it's so dope that you both had the same birthday.
And that's what inspired the project. So we were like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And he worked fast like I do, so we probably finished that whole album in a month. Wow.
We talked right before we jumped on. Also, we talked about birthday, and then the name Showrocka. Tell us about the origin of the name Showrocka. I shared the story with you about that.
Yeah, I told you part of the story. I didn't tell you the whole story.
Yeah.
All right, so when I was younger, like I told you, I've been rapping since I was like a small child.
Yeah.
And I would be block. Like this is back in the days when you couldn't confine yourself to a 10 by 10 square on the internet. You had to really be outside. If you was a rapper, you had to go to studios.
Right.
So I would be on ciphers on the block, on the concrete with a microphone in my hand, rapping against grown-ass men and beating them because I'm nice. So they never knew what my name was. They'd be like, oh, Shorty Rock, come here, Shorty. So my rap name became Shorty Rock. And Showrocka came from that because show is short for Shorty and rock is short for rocker. So I combined it and it turned into Showrocka.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I always hated my middle name. So one day I just woke up and said, you know what? I'm going to go to the judge and I'm going to change my name to Showrocka. And what? Boy, I was like, relax. So she still gets pissed off about that to this day, but it's like people don't believe me when I say it. They're like, oh, what's your real? My name is Showrocka.
Yeah, Showrocka.
Passport. It says it right here.
Right.
So that's where that came from.
Yeah, I think that's...
And then Showrock came from Showrocka. Like my fraternity brothers, for some reason, would say, oh, maybe because they're white and that's just how white people talk. They'd be like, where's the Showrock? Like the Showrock. I don't know why it was that. It's like, oh, where's the Showrock at today? So Showrocka just ended up being Showrock, and that's why that's my Instagram.
Yeah,
I would prefer that everything be coherent, like Showrocka everywhere, but someone else has Showrocka on Instagram,
right? And
I can't, and they don't even do anything with it.
That's the worst.
But as long as you put either in, I pop up. Yeah. So I'm winning, and you're losing. Whoever else has Showrocka, so
give it up. Give it back. No, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's really, it's a really dope name, and it shows your passion and dedication to the craft. And I think there's something about, I changed my name, and I had shared that with you. And what I always likened it to was when you look at other cultures, when you look at Native Americans, you know, when they would reach a certain level, manhood, and or enter a new era of their own lives, they would take on names. You hear these stories in the Bible, right? People take on names that mean I've entered another time in my life. I think it's a really dope thing that your name is Showrocka. You know what I'm saying? So tell us about 5 a.m. freestyles.
Woo! Oh, he took it back. All right. I'm an early riser, and I used to wake up early in the morning, and before I went to the gym, before I went to work, I'll say, yo, y'all, they gonna get these bars. So I started this thing called 5 a.m. freestyles, and that was before I was even recording albums or whatever. I would just drop these 5 a.m. freestyles that were literally recorded at 5 a.m. Now I don't get to do that because my wife bitches and complaining about me making too much. But for a while, especially when I was living by myself, it was 5 a.m. freestyles. Literally 5 a.m. I would grab a beat, just kind of like a Freestyle Friday thing, but just on whatever day I felt like doing it.
Yeah, no, it's dope, and it shows the passion and the hunger. I'm gonna get it in, even if it's first thing in the morning.
Think about it. Repetition, right?
Yeah.
You need repetition to get good at anything. People wake up and drag themselves to the gym at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, or after work, after you might have worked a 12-hour shift, you still drag yourself to the gym because it's important for you to work out those muscles. Yeah. Well, lyrical exercise is important too. And a lot of people don't do it, and that's why a lot of people suck. So if you can wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, you can wake up at 5 a.m. and get your brain working. I don't care. Maybe you're not rapping. Maybe you're reading a book. But get up and do something other than stare at a little iPhone screen.
Yeah. Instead of scrolling on Instagram, go and
right.
You know, work the rap muscle, work your rhyme muscles.
Guess what? The same titties and ass that are going to be on Instagram at 5 are going to be there at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
That's right.
Then I do something else. Wow. Give your brain a break. Constant overstimulation. Just go grab one of these.
Yeah.
Once a day, and then call me in the morning. That's the prescription.
I love that. My bro, if we start to rap, we talked about the show you did yesterday. We talked about your new album. We talked about your incredible career. 5 albums available right now on digital streaming platforms. We talked about your Etsy store, your Bandcamp. You have shows coming up. Can you talk to us about a few last things that you want to plug before we wrap it up?
Yeah, like you're gonna see a lot of music coming out from me very soon. Next Friday, I have a single dropping with Spec Arson. I have a song out called Foreign Summer. This is the remix to Foreign Summer. So it's me and my brother Spec Arson. He's the one that I did the Pay the Rappers album with. And people love to see it together. That's like my brother in real life. I really fucks with Spec. So that's coming up. Then on the 4th of July, my collective called Pony, which originally stood as an acronym Pride of NY, because most of them were from New York. Yeah. The rest of us had ties to New York. So we're putting together a full-length project. But on the 4th of July, we're dropping just like a teaser, just a single. Got Sean Kingston on the hook. So it's a nice little summer banger. So y'all, the ladies, I know I said I don't make songs for the ladies, but Pony ain't me. Pony, I'm just a part of Pony. So together, we have to do something a little different.
Yeah.
So we got that coming up in August. Actually, I know I'm taking up time, but I can't get to I can't get to August when I'm getting through June. Yeah. So end of June, the 24th or the 25th, whatever day that Saturday is, at the end of June, I'm gonna be in Orlando at the Ghostface Killer Experience. So a friend of mine, Mad Ills, who is the founder of, Grind Time, big battle rap legend. Yeah. So he's taking over an entire resort and making it over for the weekend into like a Wu-Tang enclave thing. So there's gonna be MC battles, there's gonna be graffiti, there's gonna be art installations. So he's taking over the whole resort for 2 days, and the headliner is going to be Ghostface. And myself and some of my brothers from Bars Kept, I believe my brother Bison's going to be there. My brother Ansolu, who's the one who did Dear Aries with me. Yeah. He's going to be there performing. My brother High Sunday from the West Coast is going to be there. So we're gonna open up for Ghostface.
Wow.
And we're also going to have an hour-long set earlier in the day where we bring up local MCs, have them rap, where we, throw on different beats and, challenge each other's pen. We call it, keeping the sword sharp. So we're going to be doing that in Orlando. So that's going to be a very good time. Then in August, with the Full Blast family, I'm going on tour. It's like a 5-city tour. Technically, last night was the kickoff, but that's in June, so it's kind of detached from the rest.
Right.
But we're starting in Clifton, New Jersey, and that show's going to be headlined by Gorilla Nems and Young Z. Then from there, we go to Massachusetts, I believe, where we're going to have like Terminology and Core Mega. Then we go to New Hampshire, where Havoc from Mobb Deep's going to be performing. He's going to be performing Mobb Deep's albums.
Wow.
But I believe that clearly Prodigy's not here. He's going to have one of the infamous Mobb guys do it for him. Yeah. Then from there we go to Reading, Pennsylvania, where Onyx is headlining. And then we ended in my hometown back in Connecticut at Small Room Venue with the legend Coogee Rap. So it's going to be a hell of a tour.
Wow. Mobb Deep, Core Mega, Nems, G-Rap,
Terminology.
And Terminology.
That's just the people who are scheduled to be there. Like last night, I can't tell you how many people just popped up in the building just to support, or who might have.
Because people love hip hop. Absolutely, that's so dope, man. Thank you for sharing all that. We had one thing that I saw one of the comments in there. Smile now 7777 asked about how their kid could get into hip hop or how they could learn more about music. We talked about Pendulum Ink, the classes that you're giving at Pendulum Ink, that you're an assistant professor of rap theory at Pendulum Ink. Where can people find out more about Pendulum Ink?
If you are online, you can just type in Pendulum Ink and the website will show up. Put in your email and they'll contact you, or just go on Instagram and type in Pendulum Ink. And it costs you nothing to follow. A follow is free.
Yeah.
Do it, because a lot of the times they'll do things like free classes just so that you can pop in and see what it is that we're doing. And who knows, you may not want to sign up for Pendulum Ink, but you may have a favorite rapper, and your favorite rapper may be Ab-Soul. And Ab-Soul may be doing a drop-in class, and you can just pay to just come to that class and just watch Ab-Soul or just watch Method Man.
Yeah.
So it's good to follow the page because it just keeps you abreast with a lot of things happening in hip hop and this whole hip hop education space, which it's new, but trust me, it's a whole lot bigger. And I'm just glad that because this culture is ours, I'm glad that someone who actually cares about the culture, being Mickey Fax and Chilla Jones, are the ones that are kind of reining this in before corporate or some culture vultures take it and make it there.
That's right. That's dope. Well, my bro, if we wrap up, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for everything you've done for the culture, for hip hop, for the amazing albums you have out there right now, for the work that you're doing at Pendulum Ink. We're cheering for you and salute.
I want to thank you for bringing me up here and just for what you do, because I've seen you interview other people. I know you had Ty Phoenix up here. Just for keeping real hip hop alive. Like the same way that I said, I don't exist without Griselda. None of us exist without the bloggers, without the podcasters, without the interviewers, without the hip hop sites. So rappers need to be less self-centered and less selfish. Show love to these DJs. Show love to these people doing these interviews. They're not getting paid to do this. They're doing it because they love the culture like we do. So give them a fucking drop. You know, on their podcast, actually watch the other podcasts. Hit like, hit share. It doesn't have to be just because you're up there. Just support them because they supported you. And that's all I got to say on the matter.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, my bro. We'll do this again sometime. Peace.
Anytime, my brother.
Thank you. Peace.